50 people already, I say.
Makes it quite hard when you don't recognise someone, if that's your approach to short-sightedness.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right, cool. Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? Can you see us?
I can't see any of the comments. So.
No, apart from Sam. Don't worry about Sam.
Don't worry about me. I'm not important in all of this.
Right. Let's have a look. Come on. Someone confirm, then we can begin.
What have they got to confirm?
Just that everyone can see us and hear us. That's it.
Okay. If they can't see or hear us, maybe they won't know what to confirm.
That's what I mean. No one's actually confirmed it yet. This is very odd. It's not looking good. We can hear you. Okay, that's cool. Right. Let's get the show on the road.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Before we do,
was that timed?
Hey?
The Windows noise.
No, that just happened.
Crazy. But you know what? You can take pride in that. I never mastered that thing. I never mastered how to play that thing.
What, the old organ?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not.
That's my new intro and outro for my videos. Anyway, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone.
Wherever you are.
On planet Earth. Welcome to the Autie in Conversation, hosted by me, Harry Thompson. And today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the arse crack. Sam Harris, my Sam Harris.
Yes, yeah. Yours by ownership.
Sam Harris has been supporting neurodivergent children, young people and their families for 15 years, and his training courses and support to families over the years has been highly acclaimed. He believes that the best way to understand and learn about neurodiversity is to meet different people and talk to them about their experiences. Awesome. Today, Sam and I are going to explore Sam's potential neurodivergence. We all know that he is, right? So we're not really looking. I think this is just a matter of showing Sam what he is, right?
Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you've already made a bit of a judgment about which way you think this is going to go then.
That's the thing. It is interesting, right? Because what's interesting is, as people know, the kind of neurodivergent pre-screening thing is now a thing over here in the land of the extraordinaire. But it does require that one delves deeply into the person's psyche.
That sounds painful.
Just psyche, not other things. Just
yeah, I'll lube my psyche right up.
And yeah, and then it's not that we kind of think, oh God, maybe we were wrong, but it's very interesting because obviously, you know that phrase, they don't look autistic and they don't look this, they don't look that, they don't look ADHD, obviously, because obviously there's a stereotype when it comes to ADHD, the naughty boy in the classroom. But it's interesting to think about our reasoning in these situations, because as autistic people, as ADHD people, as neurodivergent people, it's almost like we can kind of get away with this a bit, if you know what I mean. So to us, because of our understanding of who we are, at an intuitive level, we can understand others who are like us. We can spot others who are like us, right? So it's different.
Radar.
Yeah, it's not coming from a place of stereotype. It's not coming from, oh, I've got this autistic cousin, he's nothing like you, right? So when we say, oh God, when we get a vibe that someone is neurodivergent in some way, it's coming from a very internal place. So Sam,
what are you going to do there? Are you going to sniff me or something?
If I could, I would. Get a bit closer. Yeah.
To be fair, mate, it's been a while since I had a shower, so you might be able to through the Zoom.
Oh, I'm undeterred. So anyway, when did you and I first meet, Sam? I think you and I first met about 2 years ago now.
Yeah, lockdown, I think.
Yeah, probably around April, May, something like that.
Yeah, because I was working for Cedar running BizNet, and I hadn't done much online stuff. So when lockdown happened, I was like, right, I better do this and have a look into it. And that's when I came across you.
Yeah. So now, at the time, did you have any inkling that you might be neurodivergent?
Well, I still don't. I don't know if well, actually, yeah, I probably do have an inkling. I'd give myself at least that.
It's something you even thought about. So you've done a lot of work with neurodivergent children and young people at that point.
So yes, and I must admit I'd read books, and particularly the books on ADHD, and had always thought, that's and like I said, I always had. I wouldn't say I had. I don't think I've now got full empathy for anybody really, because you can't really be in someone else's position, especially if they're perhaps coming from a very different position from your own. But it didn't shock me that someone would struggle in a certain way, or I didn't automatically assume that they were trying it on, putting it on, all that kind of stuff. I was always quite able to think from what they might be not going through, but what their point of view might be, or certainly to once they explained it to me, sort of get it. But yeah, tangent. Inkling, no, but I started doing courses, and I remember one really clear. I'd not been doing courses for long, and it was on ADHD to a group of parents. I think for CAMS maybe they brought me in for one of their sort of 6 to 8 week courses, and at the end, one of the parents said, "Oh, I just want to say it was a really great presentation, and it's really nice to see like such a positive role model for my son." And I was like, "Oh, that's good." And she's like, "Yeah, because obviously you're ADHD as well." I was like, did I say that? I didn't,
So before I even arrived, people were either assuming or correctly.
Yeah. I would put, the thing is, I used to put it down to me like what I'm like when I'm presenting, and I do drink a lot of coffee at those presentations. So I'm like sort of sweating and all kinds of stuff. So sounds great, doesn't it? Come and see me. I'll sweat on you. I'll do other stuff as well. But yeah, so I kind of put it down to that. And then people at work would mention little bits and bobs. And then particularly when I started managing the youth service, admin and organization was always like my weak point. Like it was always the bit I was crap at.
Sam, your ADHD's fallen out. Can you just pop it back into the camera, please?
Is that what this is? This pre-screening?
Oh, yeah.
You're just telling me.
So,
Harry, what was it? Tell me what fell out. That's what I'm interested in. What fell out just then that was ADHD?
I kind of got accosted by the whole package in one.
Okay.
Seriously. Anyway, yeah, people are joining in the comment section as well. You dropped your ADHD card.
Right.
Pick it up.
Well, no, but surely is there not other reasons I could be disorganized? I mean, I've had a lot of blows to the head.
Okay, so that's what I mean. So let's go back, right? Are you an only child?
Yes, of course.
Right. Yeah. What's your relationship like with your parents?
Yeah, really good. So they are soft as shit on me. I wasn't spoiled because it wasn't like they weren't loaded. I couldn't have anything. They set certain limits, but they always were very.
There was a lot of TLC.
Soft, a lot of TLC, a lot of kind of no, you're great, and it's probably their fault, which was like my mum through my whole sort of school journey. Me and Dad really close when I was very young, and then when I was about 17, 18, 19, when things was really sort of going off the rails a bit, we really didn't get on for a few years, but we're really close now.
Do you reckon at the time it was kind of developmentally appropriate, just a bit of kickback, teenage kickback kind of thing? Or
yeah,
were there any deeply held principles or values you kind of opposed in one another?
Yeah, we definitely had a sort of one clear, deeply held value that we opposed on, which was I thought I was brilliant and he thought I was an arse. So, you know, it's quite
Sam, I think you're a brilliant arse.
excellent. I have got a brilliant arse. That's
or arsely brilliant.
But no, to be honest, mate, looking back, you know, I can put myself in there and think, yeah, that I would struggle with that as a dad. Like I was being a dick. Sure. So, you know.
Okay then. So from what you know, did you meet all of the developmental milestones? You know, were you walking and talking at the right kind of age, if you know?
Yeah, I mean, so my mum and dad have both done the ADHD like pre-screener things. For
themselves or for you?
For me, as in like, so because when I started looking at going through it and paying for it officially, the diagnosis, they sent me a load of pre-screening forms. So I didn't end up paying them or going through with it, but I did the forms. So, so dad's was, I think, so this is why it's interesting to talk to you about the whole diagnostic thing, because the forms I was sent, it may not always be the case, but they were to both parents, and it was all looking for stuff that was present before the age of 7, right? Now, if I tell my mum that I don't know, going to give her a ring later that evening, there is a chance she'll forget. She's like, how old is she? I better get this right. 69. Yeah, 69. So it's a long time ago for her to remember. But she scored a few, enough to sort of for someone to go, okay, we might need to look into this more. But dad's was even more so, I think, a dad trying to remember what his 7-year-old was like when he was working. It was all just ones, you know.
That is an issue, but if you were to pursue an official diagnosis, the diagnostician would most of the time give your parents an opportunity to fill out a form, right, as what you were like as a child, and it is not at all uncommon for them to produce a low score with regards to whatever neurotype or condition.
Okay.
Because they may, as you said, either fail to remember that far, or if they do remember that far, they're not necessarily equipped with the neurodivergent lens. They're not necessarily able to get beyond a stereotype, or they just purely can't relate to it in that kind of way. As parents, they're probably focusing more on the things that were of significance and importance to them as individuals, right? And also, it can be a reflection on their parenting. There could be this anxiety or reluctance to paint you in a bad light because they wouldn't want to do that to their cherished baby boy. Or there could be a sense, and I'm not saying it's any one of these, by the way. I'm just saying this is often, you know, the case. And the diagnostician is fully prepared for the parental forms for adults to be not near to, you know, meeting the full criteria anyway.
Sorry, can I just, something's just made me crack up and I can't not.
Okay, go on.
You know, Carly that's in the Fuck the Narrative group. Yeah. Just put, Sam, imagine being the only neurotypical in a group of 10 neurodivergents and not being paid carers allowance.
Thanks, Carly. Good point.
Really
so what are your parents like?
Well, this is it. So dad has always been a disorganized fucker himself. And I wonder if that's why his scores were so low, because he was just like, well, he's probably better than me. And mum, she's very like creative, but she's pretty good. She's pretty switched on with organisation and stuff. Right. So why am I just talking about you asked me what they were like?
I asked them what they were like. So to me, that's quite significant, because the first thing that popped into your head when you thought about your dad was disorganization. The first thing that popped into your head when you talked about your mum was creativity. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's horrible to my dad. So my dad was loads of fun, always had time for me, like never Like he would go out and play football with me or kick a ball, whatever it was I was into, for just hours when I was younger. They both came to all my games when I played rugby, and whatever other sport I was into.
So this is where,
they're always very supportive.
This is where our friend Lenara would say they fostered a secure attachment style in you.
Yeah, definitely. I think, they never, to be fair, like me and Dad were not close for a while. But like I said, I think that was mainly my issue, although I think he was quite low at the time. But they never stopped loving me when they make me feel loved. I'm going to fucking cry, Harry.
I know. So
the rugby was on earlier, and I've had some bowlers. So
I have a very clear picture of very loving, genuine people.
Yes, definitely.
And parents. And you described your father as disorganized.
Yeah.
Would you, what else pops to mind when you think about him as an individual as opposed to him as a father?
Okay, funny. Like he was whenever I'd sit.
What kind of funny? Because there's someone who makes a kind of dry, wry remark at a dinner party, and then there's someone who is coming up with really witty ideas and, maybe incorporating a bit of physical comedy in there.
Yeah, it's difficult to tell what is. He was really good at taking the piss, just piss taking, like people like me. Yes. So yeah. If you think, we've got a similar sense of humor. I'm probably a bit more erratic.
Right.
But yeah, he was definitely a good piss taker. He was the eldest of, like, I think 5 brothers. How many uncles I got? Yeah. 5 brothers and a sister, so there's loads of them. So
cool. Right. So did you go to nursery?
Yes. Do you know, I've got a really vivid memory. It's my only memory of nursery, and that was this fat kid called Lee that used to sit on me. And I was bullied. But then, right, like a couple of weeks before we left, I pushed him over. So go away, Lee. And he left me alone.
Did that take a lot for you to do that, or did you do it fairly confidently?
Oh, Christ knows. It's one of the, to me, and again, this might be different for you, Harry, but my memory of back then is like, I've got these snapshot moments, and like, I don't know how many of them, they might have been fabricated in my own head, to be honest, like edited highlights. But
we're prone to internal biases.
Yeah. I probably just let Lee sit on me and went away and pissed myself in the corner and cried. But in my head, it was some sort of all-conquering, David Goliath moment.
Was it just this Lee who picked on you, or did you find that other kids did too?
No, I was never. I was never a bully, definitely not. But I was never really bullied. I was always fairly assertive in the playground, so if anyone would have an issue, we would deal with it like gentlemen from the Queensbury.
Okay, got it.
So kind of stuff.
Could you sum up your interactions with people? Well,
early on, or
so maybe earlier. Maybe let's get beyond nursery a bit. Maybe let's get to school kind of age.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you a little sort of.
You mentioned you like taking the piss.
Yeah, well, so this is the weird one, right? Primary school, very quiet. Played football. That's all I wanted to do was play football. Obsessed with football, all the time, every break time. Didn't give school was just like a sort of side piece to playing football. Just an opportunity to play football.
Can I stick with that a minute?
Yeah.
You enjoyed, so most of your energy was focused into playing football?
Yeah. Or running around at playtime or sports or whatever.
Did that leave any room at all for a bit of interest in other things, or was it just sport?
Yeah. So when I have always been I laugh because I think there's things I'm going to say and I'm kind of thinking the senses are going to go off at the back, or like a light's going to come on and go woo. But I've always had very intense interests, some of which have stayed, but some have been literally like here. Football, for example, I was obsessed. It was my one thing I loved the most until I was about 14, took up rugby, stopped playing football.
Sure.
I just never, but I had young dinosaurs. I knew all of them. What else was there? Thomas the Tank when I was very young, which Arthur's into now. But they're fairly common, I think, when you're quite young.
But football. So what was it? So what was it about football?
I don't know. I just loved playing it. I've always loved that physical activity.
Physical activity. So describe that. What does activity mean to you?
It means not thinking, not it just being like fully in the moment. I can't really describe it.
It's kind of feedback, isn't it? You know, like, so I was never big on football, but I remember obsessing over kicking a ball perfectly. You know, you get that lovely grass chop sound, you know, and then I can imagine the ball hit at the swish of the net, you know. Yeah. So and then, you know, a perfect kick kind of thing, you know. And so if you didn't have access to a kind of outside area, what were you like in the classroom?
Well, so this was odd. So primary school, quite quiet. I wouldn't say, maybe a bit shy, to be honest. Like I was fairly shy when we'd go on holiday and stuff, like quite quiet.
Apart from with Lee.
Sorry?
Apart from with Lee.
Apart from with Lee, dickhead. But
I want to find this Lee as well.
Yeah, I'm going to hunt him down. But where was I going? Yeah, so quite quiet, and all my school reports were great, and I learned quite quickly. I was always doing well with my grades. A few early on, I think, said could probably push himself a bit more, but kind of relaxes because he knows he can do it. Then my first parents' evening at secondary school, my mum come home in tears. I had about 6 letters home in the first term. And it just all went.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So whilst you're in primary,
that was the science block, by the way, that went.
Okay, right, got it. So whilst you were in primary school, you were quite quiet, but you still loved, playing sport. And at the time, you were quite focused on your work.
No, I wouldn't have been focused on it. I would have been like, everyone's quite quiet doing their work, right? What we got to do? Right, done that, and then like read a bit of this.
But do you have any memories of kind of finding that you had to suddenly shake yourself out of some kind of zone or trance? Like you could have been thinking about, I don't know, Barry from EastEnders giving a chimpanzee a Thai massage, or
I don't know who any of these people are, but it's
bloody, just ignore it, But would you ever find that? And do you ever find that now? This sense of talking to people and maybe you zone out, drift off, and find yourself thinking about other things?
Not now, and not with people, but with work, even back then, and like with the teacher, if they were talking to like everybody. I'd almost have like a continual sort of something else going on. But I was just quite good at switching,
And how were you with sitting at a desk?
Well, again, I don't think I've ever been. See, now I'm quite fidgety. I haven't sat still tonight, but I don't think I was that fidgety. But again, there was not a day in my life, I don't think, where I didn't get some exercise out.
So it was being fed. It was being, was there ever a time where you weren't playing football and you noticed it, or playing sport or anything, and you noticed a shift?
Do you know? Sorry, Harry. I've never actually really thought about it because I said about my memory is not that clear, but I was a fidgety bastard.
Yeah.
I was a fidgety bastard because I'd always be doodling, or like me and my mate used to just make up anagrams out of football players' names. Do you remember Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank?
I remember, yes.
The name. So there's an anagram of that, which was Bank My Jism Hell Floyd. Sorry, I don't know where the fuck.
You strike me as a kind of person who has a flair for the mischievous.
Yes. Yeah, I used to do all sorts, mate. I remember my science teacher came in once and I was playing darts on the science board and I'd drawn it all like a massive dart board on the science board and I was using Pritt sticks to fucking bullseye.
Was this secondary?
This was secondary, yeah.
How do you what do you prioritize? Now, when I ask this, I mean emotionally, right? So
fun.
What's it? Fun. Okay.
Yeah, enjoyment.
Yeah. Do you have the sense that fun and enjoyment are somewhat irresistible on a personal level?
Not anymore, but yeah, definitely.
Not when you're around me though.
Well, of course, when I'm around you, yes, yeah. But no, because when you said it, what I mean is not anymore with the irresistible. But when I was a lot younger, there'd be things that I would do just for the impulse of like enjoying it, but not, and then really regret it. Whereas now I think I'm better at sort of, no, that's not what I'm going to do. Would still like to maybe, but I know what the cost is and that kind of stuff.
Are you more impulsive than you are a planner?
Yeah, this is where it gets stupid. Is this a waste of everyone's time, Harry?
No, I am loving this. So is everyone else.
I'm very, 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 very impulsive, and that has been...
So tell me how your impulsivity manifested as a child. Tell me how it manifested as a teenager, and tell me how it manifests now as an adult.
So child, just like imagination, the play I would do. I was always the kid that made up the game that no one we didn't have anything to play with. I'd just make up games that we could play in the playground. I was often the kid that would see how deep that was, or if I bet I could get up there. And the thing is, I was actually, like, believe it or not, quite a chunky, tubby kid for a lot of my life. So that branch never fucking held me. So there was a lot of falling out of stuff. Then as a teenager, just, bad things.
Okay, go on.
Naughty things, drinking, all that. But again, you could say...
Let's think. Do you remember when you first started experimenting with drink and dangerous, reckless activities?
So 13, first time I ever got pissed, I stole some of my mum's Calvados and went to Rollermania, which is like one of them skate around things. But I can't skate, I still can't. So imagine me pissed right up for the first time ever, trying to roller skate in a disco. Mate, I was just bowing into walls. I woke up the next day with my first ever hangover and a body that felt like it had been in 3 car accidents. It was awful.
Right.
And it still didn't put me off. So
yeah. So the risky, the dangerous. Are you enticed by that?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. So not necessarily, but they're not certain things. So not like extreme sports and stuff. Actually, that's not true. Yes.
Because so I was never interested in extreme sports myself, but I would want to I'd want to get in a trolley and go down the hill.
Yes.
Like that. Or do something daring. Or
so like the idea of like
rip my clothes off and play, just knock on someone's door with nothing but a snorkel and mask.
So like I would never plan to do a bungee jump because I'd be like, fuck that sounds horrible. Yeah. But I'd be the guy that if especially if we were drinking, obviously, but if everyone said, I'll bet you can't jump off that, Harris, and I've then jumped off it and dislocated my shoulder or something.
Yeah.
I remember coming back from when we finished our A levels and I went to a house party and then I stood on this wall as we walked in. It was like, "Way, I'm here," sort of thing. And everyone was like, "Jump, Harris, jump." I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to jump." So I jumped and it must have been about 7 foot. It was onto grass. And I decided in my head that I could like land in a roll. And so I just jumped onto my shoulder, but rather than roll, just kind of like collapsed like an accordion, like decompressed, like
risk taker, daredevil.
Yeah, or clonker maybe, but yeah, that sort of stuff happened a lot.
Do you ever have an overwhelming sense that people might not like you, or do you ever get offended or hurt by things people say? Did it ever stew on your mind?
This is an interesting one actually, and I'll talk about this in the podcast a little bit, but I think one of the reasons maybe I've never explored anything like this, and I do put it down to my parents, particularly my mum. And I'm not saying that if someone doesn't have this, it's a parenting fault. I just, that could be part of it. It could also be biological, lots of other things. But yeah, I've always had a good sense of ego. Like, I've got a big ego. My danger is being too far the other way and being like, no, this is not my fault at all. Yes, I drunk all of that and pissed on your shoes, but this is really you being unreasonable, that kind of stuff. So no, I never had that kind of self-doubt really.
Yeah. What about other emotions?
Yeah, I've had other emotions occasionally.
Yeah. How has it been? Like, what's it like being angry?
Yeah, that was mine. That was my big, I'd say, issue, emotional difficulty, which again is when I started working at Cedar. That's where I connected. When kids were really angry, I could still see it as something else going on, or even not just, just be almost sympathetic to the fact that they were out of control and angry, because I knew I had been like that, and still do, like not to as high a level, but so like we live opposite a school, and obviously school pickup time, there's just cars everywhere. But because we've got a driveway, I've got this ridiculous thing where if someone just picking up their kid and their car's like halfway over my driveway, sometimes I've gotten in the car to go somewhere that I wasn't going to go, just to make a point and be like, can you fucking move? Get out. My wife's like, oh God.
Yeah. So what's it like waiting for things?
Not good.
Right. Okay.
So but I'm better now. Lots of these things I've got way better at in the last 5 years. Like, like if there was like a curve, it would be like, so I don't know why that is, but but yeah.
What about positive emotions? Do you find yourself getting excited?
Yeah, and I'd say I'm excitable, and also I work quite well when I'm like that, if that makes sense. So it's an impetus. Yes. So like at Cedar, again, when I was managing the youth service, whilst I was terrible at organising stuff, what I was good at was when the shit hit the fan and no one knew where anyone was, I was great at like doing it all on the hoof. And because of the kids service, there'd always be changes. That worked really well, because you could plan and plan and plan, and then it pisses with rain and you can't go to the beach anymore. So you've got to make 3 other groups up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Did you have any do you remember, or do you now at any time experience having any kind of conundrums or abstract thoughts like, where the fuck did Mowgli from the Jungle Book get his orange pants?
Yeah.
Oh, if I moved my finger half a step closer to the wall, then another half, then another half, then another half, it will never reach the wall it will never actually reach the wall, so long as it's always one other half. Do you have any like random thoughts like that you bring up to your mates, like, hey, I've just thought about this?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Lots at university though, and to be fair, full disclosure, everybody, you've all got to check a past. I was smoking a lot of pot, so that is quite a pot smoker thing to do, isn't it? It's talk about bollocks.
Right. So
imagine if monkeys had like opposable thumbs, dude. Like,
okay, right, yeah. Right.
We're changing the world. Yeah, like shut up, you dribble.
Yeah. Cool. So it started off with getting pissed at 13, and this continued throughout your adolescent years. Yeah, and so impulse, those kind of behaviours. They were a big part of my. So what was wrong with excuse me, sorry for.
What was wrong with?
Anyway, what would you? God. So I went to interrupt you, then I forgot what I was going to fucking say. But it's cool. I'm diagnosed.
We're not screening you, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, come on. This was an important point. Okay, what was wrong with reality then? Was it boring or scary? Like, what was wrong with things the way they are? Can things be enhanced?
Actually, to be fair, when I was about 15, I lost quite a close friend. Fucking hell, stop. Anyway, yeah, so that was pretty rough, and it was to do with, I don't want to go into details, but it was there was drug stings going on. I don't remember thinking about anything about it at the time, but my reckless behaviour increased a lot after that. And then I remember when I was probably about 4 or 5 years older, I started thinking about that a lot and had a bit of a like just emotional spill. Yeah, so I don't know if it was that, but also, to be fair, I get a bit bored still of being normal. Like if my brain is, it almost feels like, yeah, I need a stimulant. I need something to be, so like I go to gym every morning. I take something called pre-workout, which is like full of stims and like caffeine and like bollocks, balls, testicles, like. Right.
So adrenaline junkie with that.
Yes, yeah, as safe as I can get the adrenaline.
You like traveling and doing new things?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Just like, are you putting a dating advert up for me or something? Like good sense of humor, like traveling, meeting new people.
Yeah. I think we've got a long list of applicants. So, what about that as a child? If someone was hurt and in pain, or a teenager or child, someone was hurt or in pain or crying, would you be the kind of person who would just not even notice? Would you notice and think, not my problem? Would you notice and think, oh no, I wonder what they're sad about, but not do anything? Or would you notice, oh no, they're sad, hey, you okay?
Yeah, no, I definitely had I would say I hope other people would say, like, a good heart. Like I would, quite often I'd get into fights and stuff at school if there was someone, being picked on and, that kind of stuff. Having said that, I was also like a jock. So I potentially did upset people as part of a crowd taking the piss. But I always, whenever it went that bit too far, I would be the person to sort of, whoa, hang on, this is shit. Yeah. Let's sort it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you're being a dick. And not you instead.
When I was growing up, I was the person who would always take a bit of banter and a joke way too far, but I was also the first person to be like, oh no, come on, let's hug and it'll be okay. I just get like this sometimes, like it'd be this one part of me just, oh my God, I'm having such fun relentlessly antagonizing this person until they show emotion and I'm like, oh no, let's cuddle,
Yeah. I don't know if I was quite, I was, I definitely do the relentless thing. And then, but to be fair, unless they really, really were upset. Yeah, actually, yeah, maybe I'm a bit like that. I don't know.
Sure. Okay. What's your memory like?
Very selective. For stuff that I'm into, really good. Although again, if I'm into it, I've probably looked at it more, to be fair. But for admin is just shit. Like, and literally, I mean, now this might be, it's funny because I told my father-in-law was around the other day, and again, I think he's 70 now, 70, 71. I went upstairs and I shouted down, I was like, Leah, why have I come upstairs again? And she reminded me. Right. And I came down and he was laughing. He was like, you're supposed to be my age when you do that. And I was like, Paul, that's literally been my life. That's my entire life, is going into rooms and going, what the fuck did I come in here for? Or like leaving the house. And what happens now is I've become so good at managing it, because I used to lose keys, wallets, phone all the time. You know that song, keys, wallet, phones? That's literally all the things I'd lost usually. But now I'm good at putting them in places. It's an expression. Let's get that on a t-shirt. But then I don't trust myself. So I'll be like, shit, where's my wallet? Where's my keys? Where's my phone? Oh, they're where I put them in my pockets, So I'll get that. So I get that like double sort of.
Whilst you're looking for them, do you find that you get flustered?
No, not anymore. But yeah, so again, about 5 or so years ago, I would be like breaking toes because I'd kicked the bloody doorstep because I'd forgotten my keys again. I'd get really quick to anger and then really quick to drop it. So I'd be like, fuck's sake. Oh well.
Yeah. in your apart from football, when you were younger, in your professional life, when you're working now, do you ever find you have periods of hyper focus, and then when you eventually regain some sense of like where you are and who you are, and you've got, I don't know, crispy boxers and a half-eaten block of cheese and a rubber glove shoved up your ass?
No, I wouldn't. I'd never get hyper focused to the point of overriding other impulses like hunger, stuff like that. But I'm much more kind of, I'll have, like, my day will be lots of things going on at once. So like the way I get through like a long task is I'll do a bit of it. I'll go and clean a dish, eat something, do a bit of it. And the beauty of my work, I'm really lucky because now I've got the stuff I do with running deer and Neurodive. So it's always something different. And
do you find that you complete projects and tasks in one go, or do you move on to the next one quite quickly?
Very rarely, unless it's like an email, and even then, if it's a long email, very rarely do I do anything that isn't talking to someone directly all in one go. Talking to someone directly, though, is never, I just want to make this very clear, because I provide services where I listen to parents, and some parents hopefully will vouch for me that I will listen and sometimes don't say anything for a long time. So I can listen because it's interesting, and it's what I do and I'm passionate about it. But I can't always bring myself to remember to email people back. I don't know why. I literally do this thing sometimes where I'll read an email and I'll go, yes, what I need to say to them is okay, done that. And then I'll fuck off and do loads of other stuff. And I never sent them the email. I just did it in my brain. So my brain's like, I emailed you, you twat. Oh, no, sorry. No, that was just in my head.
So outside of work, what's it like having a conversation with you?
Surely your best place to answer that, Harry. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what people would say.
So do you find that you're tangential?
Sorry, is that? I mean, I've got a winky. I don't know if does that mean I'm tangential?
I mean, just that answer in itself really should be diagnostic. Do you find the conversation style goes off on a tangent?
Oh yes, yeah. So my best mate is Tony, is a lot like me, and we both train at stupid o'clock in the morning. So at about 4 o'clock, we sort of meet in the gym every morning. And yeah, some of the conversations we have are just so random and odd. So I've always been friends with people like that, where it's been like just quite a lot of random stuff.
Yeah.
And quite controversial stuff, but obviously, with a
yeah. Do you find that you interrupt ever?
Yeah. In fact, actually, that was something that when I started work, so when I was managing, I would be listening to someone, trying to figure out what they were going to say next, and almost like what I was going to answer with. So I'm like 2 or 3 steps ahead. And I had to work quite hard early on when I started working with parents more therapeutically, to just, because I went on a narrative therapy course, and it talked about how if I'm already thinking about what I'm going to say, I'm not truly listening to them. And so that they might just say something or change the tone of a word at the end of the sentence that you've missed because you're thinking, oh, well, that's because you're da-da-da-da. And I think with parents especially, that's really important, because you might get a load of information from what they're telling you, or something you can dig differently with. So I think I've trained myself to do that. But in natural conversation, I stop myself doing it, but I'm still doing it in my head. I'm quite often like, okay, you're going to call me this. You're going to call me a hairy fucker, so I'm going to call you Speckies. And that'll be intelligent and funny, won't it?
You know what you're talking about.
Oh no, I can't get this off, unfortunately. But...
Yeah. What about in romantic relationships? How's that?
Christ. I just need to. See, I'm not at home, so I need to check my wife. Is my wife watching? Can you see if there's a Leah Harris watching?
I mean, she could be skulking in the background.
Well, I love her very much. Either way, if she is watching. So, no. So romantic relationships, yeah, tricky.
Right, okay, that's fine. Obviously,
especially for the other person. Usually,
you go into as much detail as you want to in a company.
No, so yeah, I was I think I can't remember the technical term, but I think early on in relationships, I'm probably what is known clinically as a shit cunt. So just it wasn't very nice. Like, I just.
Is that a cunt with a bit of shit on it, or shit with a bit of cunt on it?
Well, interestingly,
is it more like a?
It's very regional. Very regional.
It's more of an anatomical sausage roll. Anyway, this is not my moment.
No, but that is a lovely image for me to have to try and get rid of whilst I answer some sort of question.
Sure, very professional.
Just impulsive, mate. So I would find it quite exciting to do things that I was not supposed to do. So I would end up cheating quite a lot and not being very good at being faithful. But again, I was a young bloke. I'm not stereotyping, but I'm sure lots of women are cheating bastards as well.
That's okay. And do you recall the chase?
The chase?
Were you one for the chase?
The quiz show?
Say again. The quiz show.
Was I on the chase? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be one. But
I also say, can I just say, was a cheating bastard, Leah, if you are watching, obviously, you know that's not the case anymore.
Honesty. But what's interesting is, now, obviously, given your early history, it sounds to me like your parents probably fostered a secure attachment style. But the reason why I ask about the chases, that beginning part.
Sorry, Harry, I'm now really paranoid that Leah is watching, and she thinks because I've mentioned that I'm not cheating, that actually makes it sound worse and like I am. And now that I've brought it back and interrupted you to do it again, that's even worse, isn't it?
No, it's cool.
Edit it out?
Sorry?
We edit this out?
We can do if you want, yeah.
I do, yeah. So everyone...
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Yeah,
no,
I know.
I'm joking.
Okay, cool. Right.
It wasn't that funny.
Don't do that. I'm trying to,
Sorry, yes.
No, it's cool. It's cool. So
that's what they used to do. Sorry.
Stick to this one point. You will respond seriously about the fucking chase before I come over there and chase you.
Okay, the chase. What am I chasing?
Women.
All right.
You're running around chasing me.
I'm not. That's the point. I'm not anymore.
Okay, right. But when you were, was that nice? Did it feel nice? Did it give you a fuzzy little feeling?
Imagine.
This is an available service, everyone. You can allow me to probe you, and then at the end we can think, right, what are you? I probe, and then you discover the magic.
I just love the idea of whacking down like $2,000, going into a swanky office with a clinical psychologist with a tie on, going, "You were running around chasing women, weren't you? Yeah. You fucker."
Right. So, did you get a buzz? I'm looking for buzzes.
Yes, and to be honest, the more
the infidelity, was that guided by insecurity or excitement?
No, excitement.
There we go. Okay, right, Sam, I'm done.
You're done. What, in 50 minutes?
I'm done. No, nothing even changes. If anything, I'm more confident than ever. And if you don't start self-identifying as ADHD, you're going to have to pursue an appointment.
Right.
Chase. And so don't see it as a pursuit, see it as a chase. If that's going to jolt you into action, you chase that motherfucker. You fidgety fucker.
I'm a fidgety fucker. Is that again?
Fucker. Welcome.
Do I get a certificate?
Right, and also, what do we think, everyone?
Yeah, should we have a vote?
What's our verdict?
I've got to see this. Where's the comments? Can you do a poll?
Oh, can you do a poll whilst it's live?
I don't know.
I
bet you could do a poll whilst it's live, you dirty bastard.
Don't tempt me, Sam. Fidgety fuck. Hang on. Can we make an appointment with you both at once? You could do if you want.
3-way.
If this isn't ADHD, what the fuck does he think it is? That, you know what, Kahukora? That's precisely what I was thinking. If you're not ADHD, like Carly was saying earlier, what are you doing? You are one weird imposter. Like, you are the weirdest NT I've ever met, if that's the case.
I don't know, like, but yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I know. So this is, so maybe we can think about that. Now, a lot of people struggle self-identifying, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, because there could be kind of, it could be conditioning, right? We're taught that we shouldn't necessarily diagnose each other, but then we have to move away from medical jargon, from words like diagnose, right? Because at the end of the day, Sam, I believe what encapsulates who we are is who we spend time with. I say that to people. I say, think about people you spend time with. Think about people who touch your heart, people you have fun with, right? So, like, when you're bouncing around on Fuck the Narrative with the rest of us, you're not fawning, you're not masking. That's who you are. You're like us. You're in sync with us. You're conversationally, you are in sync. Psychologically, you are in sync. You know, energetically, you are in sync. Obviously, we have different personalities.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, yeah. Can I just, there's two things I wanted to sort of just just explain to people, I think, because I could see why it might look, particularly to lot sort of neurodivergent people, that if I'm sort of denying it, or, you know, I don't want that to cause offense to anyone. It's definitely not coming from a place of, well, I don't want to be. And actually, if I'm really honest, when I think about it, I kind of think that I probably am, and I kind of want that to be the case. But
you're actually breaking my heart. Like, seriously.
But because of that, I almost don't. I'm trying to guard myself from that. I'm trying to think, okay, don't let it be that, because that might sway the way you're sort of thinking about it. But also, it's almost like the lack of struggle, the lack of difficulty, the lack of trauma, you know, that I almost feel like, does that, I know it shouldn't dictate your neurotype, but I guess, yeah, I don't have those connections with that, so it's kind of hard for me to.
Hard. You know, a lot of people.
It's like, you know, you said about masking. I don't think I mask with anybody.
No.
I just kind of, I get it as it's kind of like I tone myself down a little bit, but it's no real cost to myself. So
yeah,
do you know what I mean? And I don't want to use terms that are about me that other people have had real difficult. And I've worked with those people, and I've gone, wow, you really struggle with this, and I don't feel like I do. Now maybe that's just
struggle, but that's the thing. Struggle needn't define, characterize neurodivergence. That's the thing. I mean, and this is part of conditioning. You know, it's part of internalized ableism. It's part of, not that you're an ableist person, but we all have it. You know, when we're saying, for example, when some of us say sorry excessively, we are expressing a sense of failure, that we didn't be an NT correctly. You know, a lot of us, it's this sense of, oh, sorry, that wasn't what I was meant to say, right? Sorry, you know, it's this sense of failure, right? It's so cemented in our mind, you know, what it means to be neurodivergent, what it means to be autistic, what it means to be ADHD. And then on top of that comes all over your face. No, I'm joking. I was going to make a fucking banger of a point then, and I just decided to blow it all by that one. With the medical model of disability, right? I don't struggle, and therefore it feels as though I'm in some way disrespecting the person who is struggling, but they're not struggling because they're ADHD or autistic. They're struggling because of being ADHD and autistic in the wrong place for a long amount of time around people who don't understand them. Some of us are very fortunate in that we gravitate towards environments and people who bring out the best in us. The people who are struggling aren't doing so because they're neurodivergent, you know. So
that's why I would like to. That's why I think I would actually like the result to be that is who I am, because I think then it gives me a scope to sort of look at what worked for me and if that's transferable to someone else, or if that's something that.
Well, that's what I mean. And you know, you still are a positive role model. I mean, that's why you're so good at your job, and that's why we all love you.
Oh, Harry, you're just trying to make me cry now, aren't you?
No, but you are. You're one of us, and the struggling kids that you work with, you know, they are part of your neurokin as well. You know, so that's what it is. You know, and I get that sometimes. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, in a way, I'm in a very fortunate position because a lot of autistic, ADHD, PDA individuals my age perhaps are in terrible positions, right? But it doesn't make me any less neurodivergent. You know, it means I have to recognize that I'm in a privileged position and express due gratitude because of that, right? But I have struggled. And the thing is, if you were in the wrong place around the wrong people, you would struggle in exactly the same way. But the struggle is to be divorced from the neurodivergence.
Also, I guess as well, it's because I am so forgetful. There have been times where I've felt really emotionally strong and like really struggling. But again, I think one of my sort of superpowers is because I forget it or let things go, it can be really like fleeting.
I know.
So it's never like one long period of anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I guess like, you know, there have been times when I actually have been a bit like, yeah, this is really tough.
I know. I'm sure. That's what I mean.
But I've always found things that help.
And validate that and validate that and know what it is to, you know, to feel tough. And it's safe to validate that. It's safe to admit that, right? You know, we don't always have to be the strongest, most indestructible, you know, because you're in a position whereby you are you are a part of people's support network, right? But you're still human.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there we go.
Well, that's relatively painless, Harry, to be honest. You know, I thought, like I say, I lubed up, I did stretches.
Yeah. Sam asked me before, how deeply are you going to probe? Am I going to need lube? And I said, bring a road sign, reconstruction in progress.
Yeah, which I didn't manage to get through the door, unfortunately, but you know.
Shame, I was looking forward to that. Because,
oh yeah, actually,
come on, how many road signs did you collect when you were younger?
Oh my god, that's so weird. I was literally about to tell you that story. Yeah. Before you even started, I was in my head. I was like, I've got to tell him about when I was at sixth form college, and I had 20. Final count, I think it was 26 road signs in my tiny little room that I boarded in. And my housemaster came up one day. It's like,
I am glad that we weren't at this stage of life together in the same town.
Good.
I drove my. Seriously, the first set of housemates I had, they all went to live together somewhere without me. Heartbroken. The second set of housemates, they did exactly the same thing. I didn't just bring them back and stick them in the garden. They were in everyone's beds. They were in the shower. You know, they were on the toilet. Like, and you know what? I'd never be a builder. I'd never be a construction worker. But fuck me, do I love their equipment.
Love their road signs. Especially that guy trying to open the umbrella. Remember that one?
Exactly. Right, cool.
And the bendy cock.
Yeah.
Mate, we talk a lot about the education system. If we could somehow go back in time and put us within the same, even just within the same school together, I think the entire education system would crumble and implode from the inside, and everyone would just leave it.
That's what I mean. I mean,
all quit, all of them.
Yeah, but that's the beauty. You know, that is the beauty of neurodivergence. It will. There is some drive to dismantle it, whether it happens physically as the result of reckless, naughty behavior, or whether we have conversations like this and help people to transform their thinking a bit. It's more corroboration, Sam. In your case, you're changing the world whether you fucking want to or not.
Should we try and recreate it just quickly before we go then? I'll give you a glimpse of if you were my other half or my partner in crime in school. I'm going to shout something. You have to immediately shout ox. Okay. Yeah. Ready?
That's all I have to do.
Yeah. Ready? Ball.
Ox.
There you go.
Oh, amazing.
And you got to do it again now with unt.
All right,
Cut.
Unt.
There you go. That's how childish it was.
Damn. Remember, I should have thought of that when I was younger. Okay, cool. And yeah, there's an event next week, isn't there?
Yes. So some awesome stuff going on next week. Harry, probably part of the reason why he's been so gentle with me is because next week he's handing me his mother.
I'm watching you. Remember that table leg? Your bottom is awfully hungry for a bit of table leg.
I think again, you might have to bring, I don't know, one of those extendable tables.
By the way, please continue.
Of course, yes. So I will be live with Jo Thompson, somebody's mum, Harry's mum. I'll be asking her. I've been prepping questions. I'll be asking her about her own neurodivergence, which was again a recent journey for her. So that'll be something that we can maybe compare notes about, that kind of stuff. But also, I might even ask the odd question about Harry, such as did she ever catch him wanking or anything like that. I won't do that. Because if she didn't, it just means he's very good at it.
What have I done? What have I done?
Shall I take that one off the list of questions then?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to review that list, aren't I? But yeah,
I will be asking some quite hard-hitting questions. You know, think Paxman, but on MDMA.
That's all right. I'll grant you that one. Okay, awesome. So that's on Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yes, Wednesday, 7 p.m. It'll be on my channel, but I'm sure Harry will share it via the PDA Extraordinaire. But obviously, I think if you want to comment, I think you have to go onto the Neurodive page. So all the more reason to give Neurodive a follow, I'd imagine. Yeah,
please give Sam a follow. Sam does some awesome work. And yeah, the last couple of years, Sam, have been terrific. I've loved working with you and I've loved being friends.
Oh, mate, I really appreciate that. And because I'm very, very grateful to you. I think, you know, yeah, you did a lot to help me with Neurodive, and yeah, and we are, I think, now friends.
We are,
which makes working with someone awesome because you're just working with a mate then. So that's
absolutely consider us thumbs. All right, thank you for tuning in this evening, everyone. And yes, it will be live. And there we go.
It'll be live, yes.
Yeah,
live.
Well, bonne la douche.
Bonne la douche.